Hello Internet, welcome back to Let's Make Asteroids VR. So today we are going to be making this stick into things. So this is the new bomb art for the game. And you can see there's a spike on the end. It's kind of hard to see because currently the texture is a little bit dark. We're working on fixing that and losing tracking because it's chair. Anyway, so you can see there's a little spike there. What we want to do is we want to get that so you can throw this into an asteroid or walk up to it and just stick it in. And it will just stay there. Because right now it just kind of bounces off of things. And that's cool and all, but it's also kind of boring. So that's what we're going to be working on. We're going to be making it stick. And to do that, we're actually just going to be using a really simple raycast. I was thinking we could use like a trigger or something. But I want to actually be able to detect where this hits. And the reason I want to have that capability is because I want to also be able to like spark. So if you're like holding it in your hand and you're just dragging along an asteroid or something, I want it to spark. So I have this mining core right here. It looks like this. And so I already have a spike origin, which is going to be right about there. Then all we need is some weapon stuff. So we'll just call this sticky spike? Sticky raycast. I really don't like that name. Like, not just a little. A lot don't like that name, but it's gonna have to work for now. And so what we're going to do is take a float of our range, I guess we'll call it, and take a transform of our origin, and we'll default this to null. Then I'm going to quickly add a really quick gizmo. So on draw gizmos, and what this is going to do is if our origin is not null, then we want to set the color equal to something smart like red. I seem to use red a lot. We're going to use it here though because it's a bomb and bombs are red. Granted, this one's yellow, but that's fine. Alright, origin, and it's going to be from position, the origin's position to the origin position plus the origin up times the range. And so we haven't even implemented this at all, but I can take this and do like add a sticky raycast onto this, and then drag the spike origin on there, and you can see it's already sort of working. So we can actually just tweak this already and get it working. So that looks good. So we've got it just sticking out the top a bit. And so if anything is in that red line, it's going to hit it, and then we can just parent this entire thing to whatever we hit. And that should be enough to at least get us some semblance of sticking stuff. And then what we can do is we can actually pass that, either the transform or the point that we hit, into some sort of other message, and then have something else tie into that, maybe some particle system, that will actually emit some sort of effect at that point. And that way we know, well, it looks cool. Not really any other point, just it looks cool. So what we want here is, how do we want to do this? So the issue here is it can't always be active. So we want like a delayed fuse. Because I believe if our fuse is armed is when we're going to want to actually handle the parenting. and not any other time, because when you're holding it, we don't want it to suddenly parent to some other object and just get pulled out of your hand. That doesn't really make any sense. So we're going to actually allow you to keep holding on it until it is armed, and then it's gone. And so by tying into that fuse, everything should be good there. So now we just need our ray. So we'll make a new one from our origin position, and it's going to go in our up direction. So this is just matching exactly what we did down here. It's just this had to be a little bit more complicated because we actually needed both of the world positions to draw the line between, whereas this we just needed the up and the origin. So now we need a raycast hit. We'll do that, and then we can do a physics raycast like so. With our ray, do an out hit and have a distance of range. Don't need the float there, that's a little bit silly. But there we go. And now if we get in here, we hit something. So this is where we have our if the fuse is, what was it going to be? If the fuse is armed, then we want to have this parent equal to the hit transform, which is going to be the transform of the object we hit. So it's just changing the parents. So this will parent into it, so it'll inherit all of its movement. And that should be that. Otherwise, well, anyway, we also want to send a message. And this is going to be a spike collision. On spike collision, sure. And what this is going to do is just pass in some sort of object. Let's actually pass in just our raycast hit. So we just pass the hit, and that should be that. So we'll have a message going somewhere that can get hit. I think this throws an exception though. So we'll need some options. So let's not require a receiver. So this will send it, and even if nobody's there to receive it, it won't throw an exception or anything. And that's just so we kind of are backing ourselves up, because we're not going to have this until the next video anyway. So we don't need to worry about that now. Let's see, what else? We've got our fuse, it's armed, and all of that fun stuff. The only other thing that I want to do is going to be, let's actually stick something on the front of this so we can actually test this. So we're going to stick a cube like that-ish. And the only reason I'm doing this is because then I don't have to get up. And I don't know how I record me not being here. It hasn't been great so far. Anyway, I don't know what this is. This is one of the weird issues I've been having with Unity lately. But anyway, now that we have a wall there, that's a wall. All right. So we've got our controller. We can, oops. Well, that didn't work. So one of the issues that we have is our mining core actually has a physics collider on it. So if you stick this into something, it doesn't work. So what actually happens is it forces like the asteroids and stuff out of the way. And that turns out that breaks like everything. So let's fix that as well. What's the best way to do that? Let's actually just create another component. Call it Bomb Collider Activator. Sure. We could do this as part of actually throwing it, and that may actually makes some sense, but we're not going to do that because this way we have sort of separate components for separate things. So we'll have a public delayed fuse. There's our fuse. And we'll also need a collider. And so if the fuse is armed, actually we can just do it this way. Collider dot is trigger equals fuse dot armed, and we want to invert this. So it'll be a trigger if it is not attached to anything. And so this will let us put it in things, and we'll still be able to detect that it's inside of something. So if we want to handle that in the future, we can. But it won't push things away. So I think that's good. It probably isn't. But that's all right. What's the worst that can happen? The other thing I'm going to do is actually attach these things. So let's attach the delayed fuse there, and then let's also bring in our collider activator and attach that as well, like so. And then we can apply that and actually disable this. So I actually am doing this right this time. And now we should be able to, whoa, didn't work. Dang it. No. Where? Oh, geez. I think I broke it. Oh, what happened? No, it's still working. It's just not working right. I think the tracking got screwed up. Probably. So the issue is I have to actually hold my controller under my desk while I do this. And surprise, surprise, that doesn't actually work that well. So, oh, it actually, okay, so what's happening is it is parenting. The issue is it's still physically simulated. So what we can do, where is it? Throwing weapon controller, delayed fuse, sticky raycast. In here, let's also destroy this dot rigid body, or yeah, we'll destroy the rigid body attached to this, because once it's attached to it, it doesn't need to simulate its own physics anymore because it's going to be attached to whatever it's attached to. So we don't need anything but this. That will blow it up. The only other thing I'm going to do for safety is require a component of rigid body. I'm going to type it right this time. Rigidbody. There we go. If I could spell, that would be fantastic. There we go. And so now this should destroy the rigid body, so it should actually stick to it now. So it was, if you looked at it, it was actually getting parented in the hierarchy. It just was continuing to simulate physics, so it was just continuing to do whatever it was doing. So it didn't really actually have any effect at all. But what we should see is if I put it in there, no, I guess not. Okay. I was expecting something different. So I'm going to restart that and pause quick. So we're going to do this, pause. And so you can see this is parented to this, but it's still moving away. Can't remove rigid body because player gravity controller depends on it. Oh, okay. So what's happening is this player gravity controller is screwing everything up. So we can either destroy that as well. Yeah, let's just do that. That'll be easy. And this is getting to the point where it is becoming very dependent on a few things, but that we can actually, shoot, let's try this. So what is rigid body a component of? Component? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to make an array of components. Destroy on connect. And so what this is going to be a list of components that we want to destroy when we connect to something. And so we don't require any of this anymore. What we do want to do is do, oops, destroy on connect dot for each. Is that not? There we go. And so this is a link expression, and it should invoke this for each object. We need the list of objects. So destroy on connect. So this is like a more functional for each statement. So for each instance in here, do this action. Cannot be accessed with the instant. Okay. That's kind of weird. It's not liking that. I think I may have done this wrong. Oh, I obviously have done this wrong because it's not working. But let's see. How do we do it? So it's saying that I can't use I have to use the full version of this. So does it have a solution? No. No, it does not. Shoot. Doesn't like that at all. There we go. Okay, so we just needed, it's a static function. So I was totally screwing up the syntax, but that's all right. It's working. Why doesn't it like convert to a method group? No, I don't think we want to do that. So this will work. It should destroy every component that we give it. So if I reactivate this and then get an array, here we go. There's going to be two things. We want to destroy our player gravity controller, and then we want to destroy the rigid body. And so it's important because these are going to happen in order. At least I hope they're going to happen in order, because if they don't, it's not going to work. Because you can't remove a dependency without removing the original thing. So this needs to go away first, and then the rigid body. But assuming I did that right, we can apply that, disable that one, and then try again. So we've got this, ching, and it sticks. And I'm going to get blasted into space. Yep. All right, but cool, it works. So we've got our spike thing, and it sticks into stuff. The only thing it doesn't seem to do is correctly map to the controller. I'm losing tracking again. But also, so with the velocity, it is like a frame behind, so it looks a little bit weird. And it also has the issue of not inheriting your actual velocity. So if I let go, well, apparently I've slowed down. And I just stuck myself. That's cool. But anyway, what it doesn't do is it doesn't inherit your velocity. So now I'm moving, you can see everything moving in the background, but if I let go of this, it's just gonna shoot off into somewhere. And that's something to fix later. So I think that's it for now. We've got something we can stick into stuff. Next video, we're actually going to work on sticking it into something and having sparks come off. So we're gonna just mostly be using that send message this thing. We're mostly gonna be working with this. And so that should be the next video. So hope to see you guys there. And if you liked it, let me know what you liked in the comments. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, see you, Internet.